Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey! Football season for the Browns begins tonight. Do we count that? Even though it's preseason,
Yes.
can we say the football season begins tonight?
slobbering
Because
on
it is a
myself.
football game.
Absolutely.
How
Man.
compelling this football game will be, anybody's guess.
Doesn't matter. It's football.
But I am excited to see the Browns back on the field and start figuring out who's who, what's what, and what the Browns have for the 2025 season. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Happy Friday. Hope you're geared up for a wonderful weekend. It's all going to start with you're going to have to do double screens, right? You got the Browns and the Guards going at the same time.
Yeah, big weekend for the Guardians.
So big, huge weekend for the Guardians because this is another series that they should win. I think they've won 8 of the last 9 series, which is
That sounds about right.
which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what when you were 15 and a half games out, you knew you had to do that. In the course of a month, they've trimmed 9.5 games off of that lead, which is 8.5 games off that lead, which is mind blowing.
Get it down to 4-3
because they were 15 and a half out. Now they're 6 out.
Get it to 4-3 going to September.
That's it. And here's what I keep saying: they're 6 behind Detroit. They have 6 with the Tigers to play.
Yeah.
So if you go, you got to think, you got to go 4-2 maybe,
Yeah.
5-1. Who knows what the Tigers have
mess.
they're nosediving.
Yeah.
They are absolutely in trouble. So it's funny. Last year the Guardians ran away. They went wire to wire. The Tigers made the late push. This year, the Tigers are the chasee, and the Guardians are doing the chasing. We'll talk about that later on. We're going to talk much about the Browns game tonight. Of course, Shedeur Sanders. Mike's behind the glass. Mike, kick us off here. We got a busy show. It's a busy
We
day.
do got a busy show. Want to remind everybody that tonight we are doing a Shedeur Sanders post-game show. We're not waiting. No, I'm serious. We're not waiting till the final
As soon as he
whistle.
comes out, the show's...
As soon as he comes out, we are hopping on and we are going to react to whatever we see from Shedeur Sanders.
Now, there will be no overreactions either way, right?
No,
everybody's going to be calm, level-headed.
Yep.
14 for 14, 3 touchdowns. Hey, it's just preseason.
0 of 14.
6 for 25,
Yep.
5 picks. It's just preseason.
Yep.
Right, G?
Yeah, sure. Man.
Yeah.
So that is
Completely
going to
level-headed.
happen tonight. It'll be myself, Earl, and G, the normal post-game show crew. But
That's awesome.
we figured it's a Friday night. Game starts at 7. Tyler Huntley's
You
coming in
guys don't have
next.
plans on a Friday night?
Well, the plan is to watch Shedeur Sanders talk about it, then go have some
All right.
fun.
Okay.
But we didn't want to wait till 10, the second half of the
What
game.
time does the game start? 7?
7.
Okay.
Right,
So
it is
you
7.
guys will be done by 9.
That's the expectation.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski said Shedeur is going to play about 50 snaps.
Yeah.
So I think I think we're going to see 20 to 25 passes from Shedeur tonight. And we'll get into that in 1 second.
think.
We also have Chris Rose joining the show here coming up at 12:30. As a reminder, at 12:30 we leave YouTube. We head over to WKYC. You can watch us 30 minutes of never-before-seen content on the WKYC platforms, WKYC Plus, or if you're in the Cleveland area, check us out on WKYC. In that show, we'll talk a little bit about the legal update we learned yesterday on Quinshon Judkins, which Cavs would make the best Browns, and how much credit does Stephen Vogt get for keeping this team together? We'll get to all of that, but first, we're going to dive into the main story of today, and that is Shedeur Sanders making his first career NFL start after a quick word from Yahoo Fantasy Football. Guys, Yahoo Fantasy Football is the #1 fantasy football app, and fantasy season is officially here. Fire up the group chat, get your draft boards ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, disappointments, and overreactions. It all goes down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, the UCSS Fantasy League is heading back to Yahoo, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. All the fun begins on August 4th. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That is yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. So, guys, it is the story everyone's been waiting for. Shedeur Sanders getting to make his first start with the Browns against the Carolina Panthers tonight. And I am curious. We ask this question often when it comes to quarterbacks for the Browns in the regular season, in week 1 when they make a change. And, G, I'll start with you. Stefanski says he's probably going to play around 50 snaps. I'm going to guess a half. So if it is a half, what are realistic expectations for Shedeur, and what kind of things are you looking for in the rookie quarterback's performance tonight?
I'm not really looking forward to necessarily stats, like necessarily, those will come. But what you want to do with Shedeur Sanders is you want to put yourself back in a conversation, right? I've always said that the conversation is really not for starting the year off as a starter. He wants to put himself in a position to be the second guy off the bench. And to be the second guy off the bench, you got to be, Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, who look like they're still ahead of him on the depth charts because they still got a lot of reps in the practices with the Panthers. So what I want to see is I want him to give them the ammunition to say, let's put certain things to bed. Let's put certain things that I can't get out the huddle on time. Let's put out to bed that I don't know what the checks are. Let's put to bed that I know what I'm looking for in the progression. I can get in, get out. I don't got no pre-snap penalties. I look crisp. We moving the ball downfield. I'm not going to just check it down every single time, and I'm going to take my shots where the defense gives me those shots, right? Because I've always said it before. Just checking the ball down is not what is going to get it done. You gotta show that you can make those intermediate throws, them throws that's 15 to 20 yards down the field with anticipation, footwork, and most above all, what I'm looking for is the major knock on Shedeur Sanders was out of college that he has a good arm, not a great arm. He's not the most athletic of guys, and he tends to hold the ball a little bit. So what I'm looking for is, can you get the ball out on time? And yes, you might not be the fastest guy in the world, but do you have functional mobility in the pocket, which is sliding left, sliding back, finding windows, being crafty, understanding where the blitzer or free blitzer might be coming from so you can get the ball out hot. We watched an example of yesterday where Anthony Richardson against the Baltimore Ravens, he gets hit, he's injured already because he didn't understand where the hot route was. The running back had his head around. He turns around. He's ready to get the ball out hot. Anthony Richardson is patting, looking on the opposite side of the field.
Yep.
You didn't alert that. So those are the things that coaches look for, and coaches are going to say, okay, those things show you that you are grasping the playbook and you understand what's going on. So to me, it's the small things. This is a small first step. Obviously, the process to continue to get better and better as you get more reps and opportunities. But this is a situation where you could put some stuff on tape that give you those opportunities to get the most reps. And I will say this and put a bow on it. Look, in football, I hear people talk about fair all the time. Look, football ain't fair. Ain't nothing about football fair. It ain't fair that JOK ain't playing no more. It ain't fair that people tear. I just saw the franchise left tackle for the Chargers get injured. This game of football ain't about fair. It's about what do you do when you get your opportunities, because your opportunities come few and far between. Hey, whoever is the ones is in that huddle with Shedeur Sanders that day. Because guess what? That's how it works in real life. Yeah, you might have Jerry Jeudy slated to play, but guess what? Jerry Jeudy might be hurt. Jerry Jeudy could be here today, gone tomorrow. So I want him to go and take full opportunity of the reps he is given, and I don't care who is out there. It is time for you to take advantage of it, and you can put yourself in contention to catapult yourself to be in the conversation to getting more reps. But today is a massive opportunity.
Big opportunity. I think I don't understand this fairness narrative. Have you guys caught on to that? There's already this sort of campaign. Stephen A., I think yesterday or maybe the day before.
Stephen A. and Lewis
came
Riddick.
on, and I love Stephen A.
It's totally nuts.
I love Stephen A. He was here yesterday for NABJ. He's my guy, but Stephen stop parroting other people's theories if you don't fully believe them, and I know you don't fully believe that. You hear things, and guys, when you have to opine on 1 million topics a day and you're not able to have the bandwidth to follow 1 million stories, sometimes you just dive in and see what other people are saying.
No, really, they talk about the Cowboys, LeBron.
Yes,
it's not really a million
true.
topics. It's
That's
really
true.
Like,
they have about 5.
And now they got Shedeur.
They
So
play
that's
the hits.
that's
Once upon a time when I was there, they had one topic, Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
That was fun.
They play the hits.
They play the hits. And I felt sorry for someone sent me the segment from First Take, and right away I said, uh-oh, Stephen A's going to go down that rabbit hole. And he said right away, they're setting them up to fail. They're setting them up to fail. And that's a narrative that I'm seeing more and more out there that is a little disturbing to me. You can't set up a guy to fail when you say, hey, here you go, you're the starter.
You're
go.
the starter.
Yeah, here's your chance.
And by the way, you're playing with the guys who you've been practicing with.
That's exactly right. I mean, these are the guys that you should have some rhythm with. You should have some chemistry with. So this whole narrative, and I'm glad you said football ain't fair. It's not. There are a lot of fun things that happen. There are a lot of things that happen in football that are not fair. But one thing that should be fair and equal for everybody is you should get a fair shake. Everybody should get the same look. Now, look, is Tyler Huntley going to make the team? No. Is that fair? Probably not. He's here. He's a camp body. He's, but that's the way it works. That's what you've relegated yourself to in your career to this point. I'll say this. What I'm glad of is that he is going to get the start in the first preseason game. And I think the reason it's important is because I have low expectations. I don't expect him to go out there and do what Joe Burrow did yesterday or what the Eagles' backup did yesterday. I don't expect that. I'm looking for the same stuff you're looking for. The big thing I'm looking for is timing. Jay, you know this. When you talk to guys that are in the league for a year, and you ask them, okay, so now juxtapose your first year in the league compared to your last year in college. They all say the same thing. Wow, the speed of the game. Yep. It went by me so quickly I didn't even know what was going on. I'm always fascinated at how these guys individually manage that. They know his dad is Deion Sanders, for crying out loud. He knows it's going to be faster. But how does he adjust to that? I'm really anxious to see that. I'm anxious to see how his mental clock adjusts. Some go too quick. They think it's going to be so fast that they're getting rid of the ball too fast. Mm-hmm. You don't want that. But the last thing you want is for him to hold on to the ball too long. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have an injury in your first preseason game. So I expect him to go out there, manage the huddle. I want to see a command of the huddle. I want to see you breaking the huddle on time. I want to see you picking up checks. I want to see you not throwing to your check down every single time and throwing the ball accurately and on time. If he does that, I'm not so much into the stats. I'm with you on that. They're a bar, they're a barometer to give you some sort of gauge as to how accurate he is. But I'm most interested in just watching with my eyes to see if it looks like an NFL rhythm. And I have every expectation that it will, just because I think he's got a grasp of things. The one thing that I would caution against, I know, Mike, you said you expect him to throw it 25 times.
That's going off the historical precedent that Kevin Stefanski has shown with younger quarterbacks.
Understood.
That level
I'm going to be
of play.
surprised if he gets 25 throws. I will. I'm thinking more in the 18 to 20 range. But one way or another, I think it's a great opportunity for him. If you're Shedeur Sanders, and even though you're a 5th-round draft pick, if they told you the night after the draft, you're going to be preseason game number 1 starter, what more do you want? That's as fair as it gets. So he's going to get an opportunity. The narrative somehow nationally has flipped. There's these odds makers. I don't put a lot of stock into this because I don't know where they're getting their information, but the New York Post had him as a 0% cut early in camp. No chance that he doesn't make the team. And I don't know what they've seen. I don't know who they're talking to, but somehow over the last couple of weeks, he's gone from a 0% cut to a 44% likelihood that he gets cut. So if you believe that, and I don't know that I fully do, then I think what he's fighting for might not be to be the number 2. I think he's fighting for a roster spot. Jay, am I wrong there?
No, I think he's fighting for a roster spot.
Yeah, that's what I feel he's fighting for.
But that doesn't mean...
Doesn't mean he can't win the job.
Correct. Yeah, two things can be true. Right now, he's fighting for a roster spot. If they only carry 3, I'm not sure he makes the team.
Right.
But I do think that they're open to carrying 4, and I think they probably will carry 4. But if he goes out tonight and does everything you guys are talking about, he's going to put himself in that conversation.
Sure.
To where, again, what's the harm in carrying 4 quarterbacks on the 53? So you miss out on the 5th defensive tackle. Okay, you're going to win 4 games anyway this year. What difference does it make? So I do think that I think he's on the team. I don't think he's 100% he's on the team, but I think he's on the team. And
I agree with that too. I think it's way more likely, and even by the posts number,
by 44,
he's
it's
more
still more
likely to make
than
the
he's
team
not.
than not.
Yeah,
but I was
exactly.
shocked that they have it that close. To be perfectly honest,
I don't know where the New York Post is coming up with figures.
I don't either.
I guarantee you, the New York Post doesn't have anyone at training camp every day.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. I'm kind of with you guys. Mike wanted us to put numbers on it. I was kind of in the 14 to 20 range, 130 yards, 120, 130 yards, and a touchdown. I just want him to look like he knows what he's doing. Look like you have command of the offense. What you saw with Anthony Richardson last night that you don't want to see where, gee, you're exactly right. I thought Jeff Schwartz did a great job last night on X of saying, like, man, this is 101. This is blocking 101. And Anthony had no idea where the pressure was coming from, and he was looking to the wrong side. That's what you don't want to see tonight. You want him to get the ball out on time. One of the big knocks on Shedeur in college was he holds it too long. Yes, he got pummeled in college. Yes, his line was bad. But some of those problems he inflicted on himself by holding on to the ball too long, we saw that last year here with Deshaun, of holding on to the ball and being unable to make a decision. So you want to get it out fast. And with they're going back to Kevin's offense, they're going to run the ball, they're going to play defense, and you're going to take deep shots on 3rd down off play action. Now, are we going to see that tonight? That's what I'm curious to see.
Right.
Do you look at tonight as an opportunity to really kind of see what you have in Shedeur? So maybe you're going to throw it a little bit more than you would if this was a regular season game, because in the regular season they're going to run the ball. But again, going back to what G said, I don't want to see checkdowns. We saw checkdowns last year. We've seen a ton of checkdowns in camp with Dylan. I want to see you be able to throw the ball down the field. Can you drive the ball down the field through coverage? Can you throw guys open? So I'm really anxious to see him tonight. I wrote about it for The Athletic. It's exactly what we've been talking about all week. I wrote about it yesterday. Like, no, he's not getting screwed. This is exactly what he wanted. All he wanted was an opportunity. You can't ask for a better opportunity than this. Is anyone screaming about Riley Leonard is getting screwed in Indianapolis?
Right.
Or Will Howard's getting screwed in Pittsburgh? No. They're late round picks. And we keep saying, like, well, he's not a normal 5th round pick. He's not a normal 5th round pick. Okay, to us, he's not a normal 5th round pick. They are treating him like a normal 5th round pick. Right. This is how you will get treated in the NFL when you're a 5th round pick.
Sure.
And that's how they are. That's why they're behaving the way that they are.
How many times in history can you find, now obviously it's injury related, but go find an instant where, because teams don't take 2 quarterbacks, where teams took 2 quarterbacks in draft and they start the guy that they took later.
Yeah.
Like this is just, it's on a platter for them.
Yeah.
And it's not against the Philadelphia Eagles either. It's against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that we're going to see a mixed match and a hodgepodge of guys, but this is a team that he should be able to have success against.
So I mentioned this before, and I went back last night, and I should have sent you the video. I didn't. I don't even know if we could play it or not, about when Kyle Shanahan told Niners ownership Brock Purdy was the best quarterback we had when Brock was the last pick of the draft. It was his rookie year. It was after a day early in training camp. The owners were on the field and said, how's the quarterback looking? And Kyle said, I know he was talking about the starter, but I was so aggravated that day. I said, well, I don't know, but the best guy we've got is the 3rd guy. And yet, he knew that. He said that in July. Brock Purdy didn't start his first game until December of that year.
Wow.
Because they hung in there with Trey Lance, because they had obviously devoted 3 first-round picks and the number 3 overall pick the year prior. So you hang in there with him. And then you had Jimmy G. Now, obviously, there's nobody on this Browns roster who they have committed that much capital to. But the fact remains, you're going to go in order. You're going to believe in your process.
Well, next year there will be.
Well, next year, yeah, but I'm just talking for right now.
When Deshaun's back in the mix.
Well, technically, Deshaun is on the roster.
Yeah, but he's not in the mix.
But Deshaun's gone.
What happens to Deshaun next year? I mean, that's the big question, because
that's a whole different combo. I don't want to get sidetracked.
I know you don't, but to the point of they don't have anybody on the roster that they gave up all those assets to.
Yeah, but
they do, and he could be in the mix next year.
But here's the great thing. This is why I love football, is because you can get rid of all that today. You go. That's the reason the games is played, and the reason that the games matter, because Yeah, Deshaun's not playing. He ain't on the field. He can't affect the game. Kenny Pickett's not on the field. He can't affect. The only 2 quarterbacks that's going to play today is Huntley and Shedeur Sanders. And for all the people that support Shedeur, you got to think of it like this. If that's your guy, you got to know that your guy is thinking like that too. If you go ask Shedeur Sanders, is he being set up? You know what they're going to say? He's going to say, what you talking about? I got exactly what I wanted.
No,
this is
yeah.
like it's Pinky in the brain. They say, what are you doing tomorrow? Finding out a way to take over the world. And I got a new plan. His plan worked. If he got drafted number 2 overall, you would have said, you know what? He could start the first preseason game. He got drafted
and here
in
he
the
is.
5th round and still got to play. So now he's done this before. The questions have always been there. He went to Jackson State. When he left Jackson State and they played TCU the first game on the road, people said, oh, goodness, you got these 2 kids that's coming from HBCUs. That's not even MAC level. You think they're going to come in here in a big He had to do it then. He had to prove himself. They got smacked around a little bit that first year. The second year, they had to figure it out playing the big boys. Now, that's already in his back pocket. To any competitor, to anybody that just won a shot, outcomes are not guaranteed in life. You got to take your glory. You got to take what you want. You got to take wins in this league. So the only way we're going to get a chance to see whether or not if you got the it factor to be the top in the entire game. Quarterbacks is the top of the food chain. They have the most power. They make the most money. They make the most difference. The only way we're going to get a chance to see that is to put him with a level of adversity. And by the way, if you are a backup quarterbacks never take reps with the ones. But they are expected to come off that bench
and be ready.
To
yeah,
go.
that's football. I mean, gosh, especially with this organization. We've seen that a million times.
Be ready.
They don't even tell the backups they're the backups.
Nah.
DTR found out he was starting 45 minutes before a game.
Twice.
You talk about set up to fail. That man
set
was
up
set
to
up
fail.
That move.
No question.
And it was against the Steelers.
The Ravens.
Ravens, right?
Even more difficult.
So, Jay, real quick, I mentioned that 20 to 25 pass attempt number. I just want to give you guys the reasoning why I think it could be in that range. Like you said, maybe it's 20, maybe it's a little more.
Yeah.
This is since Stefanski took over as head coach. The amount of pass attempts backup quarterbacks have taken when they've played about a half. When they've played about a half of football, the amount of pass attempts. He's always let these guys throw. You ready?
Well, that's what you want to see, yeah.
DTR in 4 different stints, 18, 17, 20, and 25.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley twice last year, 20 and 22. Kellen Mond, 24. Josh Dobbs, 20 and 20. Josh Rosen, 20. Jacoby Brissett, 23. Kyle Lauletta, 23, 23, 22, 24. And Case Keenum, 17 and 19.
Yeah,
this could be Shedeur's best chance
lab
to get full, extended, uninterrupted.
Right.
It is you and it is Huntley.
And
Let's
you know
see
it's
what
not
you
just
got.
a series or a quarter either. He's going to get a half. I have 11 of 19 for 113 yards and a touchdown. And if he pulls that off,
yeah, you and I were pretty close.
If he pulls that off, and I also think Kevin, we ran a bite yesterday on Channel 3 from Kevin after Panthers practice Wednesday, where he said, "We're gonna," and this is what he does. This is gonna be very simple. We're keeping everything very, very basic. We're taking the absolute easiest portion of our playbook, and we're giving it to him and say, "Go execute this." You don't want to overwhelm the kid. You want to give him just enough that he can handle it. And maybe if you feel like after one quarter that he's handled everything you've thrown at him, then maybe you can add a little bit. But Kevin is going to keep it extremely simple, and therefore I expect him to have a good deal of success. And I think 11 of 19 for 113 and a touchdown would be, if he can pull that off, I think that's a passing grade, and he did everything you would want him to do in his first big test.
My gut feeling is, I think just by watching him, he might be one of them dudes that, yeah, you see him in practice. All right, man. You see him. I used to think this way about Joe Burrow. Like, I'd be like, man, like just watching him being in Athens and where he's from. I'm like, all right, man, I guess. I'm like, he going to Ohio State? Joe Burrow going to Ohio State? You from? I'm like, all right, man. I looked at this tape and it just didn't seem like it was so crazy. And then he got to Ohio State. And
Ohio State thought the same thing.
I'm like, this ain't even that crazy. But the thing about Joe Burrow is when them lights come on, it's different. Like, it don't, like, his arm strength, like, goes up 2 ticks. He's automatically faster now.
Is Shedeur that? Because I'll admit, I didn't watch every game. What was his performance in their biggest games? Did he ball out? Did he step up his game a level? Should we expect that?
I always go back. I look at the Baylor game. There's a lot of games. I watched the Kansas State game. Cincinnati. I watched USC. There's games where the Baylor game I would go back to and look at it specifically was they should have lost that game. That game was dead in the water. Yeah. They should have been lost that game. And he comes back and throws this crazy, miraculous Hail Mary when it's raining. And he just always seemed to be like, all right.
Is that the one that lost in overtime?
No, that's the one that won.
The Hail Mary won it.
Oh, okay.
The Hail Mary won it.
And how was Baylor this year?
Mid.
I mean, but then again, you got to look at it. Colorado is mid. I would say Colorado's roster, if you go back and look at it, they didn't even have any draftable players on offensive.
I mean, in truth, that conference now is really nothing to write home about.
It's like, but I say this, maybe he's one of those dudes, and I'm looking for it, to say, that was a different level of movement in the pocket, or are you better when them lights come on? Because there's some people that's practice players, some people is game players.
Right.
Like, I just think, if he can get to a point where he can make some, to me, I need to see 1 or 2 plays, right? Like Joe Thomas talks about. Give me 1 or 2.
Yeah, so you could say that's it right there.
Okay, that's a throw right there. Okay, that's a throw right there. Right. And then you can live with the rest. Like, so, I'm interested. And as for the fans, I'm excited. I'm excited for the fans to get a chance to see it. I mean, you're 3-14. You want a quarterback. You need a quarterback. You get a chance to see a quarterback play. Let's see these young dudes play and see what we got.
Yeah, I'm pumped too. I can't remember. I'm sure I've been excited for other preseason games when they've taken quarterbacks highly, but sure. I'm really, really excited, not just about this preseason game. I'm excited about all 3 of them, and I can't wait to see how this thing shakes out.
I'm surprised you guys, listen, I'm surprised y'all came in upbeat, man. You really, this is because you're not a preseason guy. You're like, forget this.
No, I want to see him.
That's
we all do. Gee, I think, and you guys correct me, there might be more hype, fanfare, attention, excitement about tonight than we'll actually get in week 1.
Oh, not for me, no.
No, I'm not saying for us and the diehards. I'm saying from a national perspective in terms of maybe looking forward to a Browns game. I think more people who aren't diehard Browns fans will be locked in to see Shedeur tonight than they will be in week 1 when there's other distractions and it's Joe Flacco versus Joe Burrow.
I see what you're saying. For me,
for us, the regular season always trumps preseason.
This isn't even batting practice on the field before the game. This is light tee work in the bullpen. This is I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see what we have, but I can't wait for week 1, and I have a pretty good idea. I know what's going to happen in week 1, but you know what? And I know that people will look at me crazy, you've been a Browns fan for too long, your brain is warped.
I ain't going to say that. Go ahead.
Year to year, we don't know.
Nope.
There are teams that rise from the ashes every year.
No.
Go ask Washington last year what they were expecting coming into last season.
They had a rookie quarterback they loved.
They did, but go ask them what kind of season they were expecting.
Yes, they exceeded expectations.
They were not expecting.
You think this team's going to the playoffs?
Absolutely not.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Hey,
could they surprise you and win 5? Maybe.
I will say this: the defense rounding into shape.
There's playmakers on defense.
What if that defense reverts to the form that they had 2 years ago?
Then they win 5.
And what if you get one of these quarterbacks to stand up and play above all expectations?
Then they win 6.
Okay, now we've doubled our win total. We've gone from 3 to 6.
We're playing the record game, which leads us right into our next topic. So let me do a read and
Did you do a stat line, by the way?
No, I didn't.
What's your stat line? Yeah.
Man. So let me go. Man, let me go 12 of 17 for 152 yards. He's going up top once.
All right.
1 touchdown, No interceptions.
For the record, I gave him the most completions for anyone. Everyone.
I was 11 of 19.
I had him at 14. 14 and 20.
All right. Well, if he gets upwards of 25, he could complete
Jason
14.
Lloyd, certified Shedorian.
That's
All right,
right.
let's get on
That's
to
right.
our next topic because it has to do with the Browns' record. This topic is brought to us by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing. And whether you're about baseball, soccer, golf, you name it, FanDuel is the best place to make bets on whatever you so choose. We already know you're following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game from anywhere, including the beach. If you're new to FanDuel, we got an offer just for you. New customers can bet $5 and win $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Open up the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. So yesterday, USA Today put out its record predictions for all 32 NFL teams. And we're going to run through a couple of the notable ones because it relates back to the Cleveland Browns. Let's start with USA Today's predictions for the AFC North. USA Today predicted the Ravens to finish 14-3, the Steelers 11-6, the Bengals 9-8, and the Browns at 3-4. 3-4 is not the worst record in football. We'll get to that in a sec. The other team,
3-14.
3-14. Sorry. The other team of interest for Cleveland will be Jacksonville because the Browns own Jacksonville's first-round pick next year. According to USA Today, the AFC South looks like this: the Texans at 10-7, the Jaguars at 8-9, the Titans at 5-12, the Colts at 4-13. Steve, let's take the next graphic here, just so we have this all. The worst records in football for next season, according to USA Today: the Saints and Giants at 2-15 each. The Browns would have the third worst record at 3-14. The Colts 4-13. Miami, Tennessee, and Vegas all going 5-12. And then the opposite end of the spectrum, the best records in football, according to USA Today, will be the Ravens, the Bills, the Eagles, the Packers, and the Broncos. So I wanted to ask you this, and Jason, I'll start with you.
Look at that.
That's mildly insane, but okay.
Well, yeah, they're all insane, and we'll parse into each of the highs, the lows, and the divisions in a second. But for the sake of this first part of this question, if the Browns end up at 3-14 with the third pick, and Jacksonville ends up at 8-9, and that would fall somewhere in the 11-15 range, depending on tiebreakers.
Yeah.
How would you come away from this season feeling if that was the end result?
Well, again, we've talked about this before. It depends on how you get there, and it depends on what it looks like. 3-14 is ugly. Obviously, it's really bad. Jimmy's already come out and said they got to do better than that. I don't know that necessarily that really means anything ultimately in terms of job loss at the end of the season. But if we're being totally honest, 3-14 is probably right where they want to be because then it gives them the opportunity to go out and get the quarterback that they want in next year's draft. And I know people get sick of hearing that. That's the reality of where they stand, and they're just trying to make it through the season, try and find some pieces that can help them moving forward, and drop in the quarterback after next year's draft. That's how they're approaching this season, unless and until somebody gives them reason to believe otherwise. One of these young quarterbacks gives them to believe that maybe they have the answer. So it would be miserable to go through 3-14 again. I don't know how you can go through 3-14, come out the other side and say, okay, we feel good about the quarterback we have in place, or we feel good about X. Like the Patriots, I know that everyone says, okay, well, they feel really good about Drake May. I guess there's a world where that happens, where you win 3 games and yet you come out of this feeling really good about Shedeur and Dylan and thinking like you got your guy in place. But again, they are entering this season believing their future quarterback is not on the roster. Do you know how much work these young guys have to do between now and the end of the season to prove to them that that's not true? So, I mean, 3-14 would be miserable. In Jacksonville, you'd like to see be a little bit worse than that, obviously. I think 7-10, 6-11, something like that. They could also be 10-7 just as easily, I think.
That division's bad.
Yeah. So
but because you're playing other bad teams 6 times,
you're going to run into some wins.
You're going to run into some wins.
Yeah. So
I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be generational.
He was, and he hasn't been.
We've seen 2 Trevor Lawrences.
Can we, if maybe the light bulb goes off
again,
and if it does, you're like, oh, okay. They got weapons. They got
sure.
2 great young receivers. They're not trash. Like if you look at their roster, the thing is, Jason, if it's 3-14, I think Kev will still be here. 3-14, I don't think Andrew can survive.
I don't
that.
either. I've said
I don't
all
think-
along, I can't believe he's
Depends
still
on how
here.
this rookie class plays.
And yes,
Yeah.
So to me,
But if you're 3-14,
he has
in all
one.
likelihood, they're not huge contributors.
But that's so indicative of the quarterback, though.
It is, but you've got guys on defense that you've drafted highly. Mm-hmm. Let's see what they do.
And Judkins, we'll talk about it in another show. It looks like that timetable got a little bit longer. Like maybe I thought, okay, well, let's see if we can get this trial thing and figure it out. They're like, yeah, we're going to waive our rights to a free trial. So I don't know when he's going to be back. But if you're 3-14 and he doesn't play an awful lot, I don't know how you can go into a process and say that you really want Andrew Berry to pick the next quarterback. Because if I'm going to do 3-14 twice, and you had quarterbacks this year, they didn't do nothing. He saw Baker Mayfield up close. He didn't like that. They liked Deshaun Watson. That didn't work. I think there will be collateral damage going 3-14. I think Stefanski, based on, I guess, his success in the past, has a better opportunity to do that than Andrew Berry. I don't know how they can say we're going to come back and just run it back at 3-14.
No,
they
I
have
don't
to,
either.
Yeah.
And if they do, I'll be disappointed. Look, my hope is that Andrew Berry is here for another 10 years. That means that they turn it around quickly and they have success. My fear is that they're not going to have success this year. I've got them at 4 wins this year. When you look at the schedule, it's funny. When you play the schedule game, I don't know where they come from.
Yeah.
But you know the NFL. You beat a couple teams you're not supposed to. You lose to a couple teams you're not supposed to.
I'm not sure there's a team out there they're not supposed to lose to.
I don't think they'll be favored in any game this year. I couldn't. As I was going through, I'm like, okay, who am I going to favor them against?
Yeah.
First 5, they're big underdogs, all of them. When you go through it, you don't know where the wins are going to come from, but there are teams on there. I suppose you could go into New England and get a win.
Okay.
I suppose you could. I suppose you could go into New York and get
Jets,
a win.
too.
Those 2 are on the road. Those are winnable games if they're home. You could win against the Raiders. That game is on the road.
Titans.
49ers, you're not beating. Titans, that's the one that I think they could be, depending on how the season plays out,
Right.
they could be favored in that one. But the weak teams on their schedule, they have at their place. So I don't know. I don't know where the wins come from. My mind tells me I could see a world where they only win 2. But I am an internal optimist when it comes to this kind of stuff and think, my God, there can't be that big a gap between the team that was thought to be in the mix for a playoff run last year coming into the season and now. That's just a year removed. And now we're like, oh, yeah, 3-14. So I'm not ready to buy that yet. I think 4 wins is a good number. I think for Andrew Berry to keep his job, it has to be more like 6 wins, and we have to see something from the kids. We have to see this rookie class go ball out. Right now, if you could go in the Wayback Machine and redo the running backs, are you still taking Judkins, or are you going to take Travion Henderson?
What you mean?
So how many quarterbacks?
Now Travion Henderson looks beautiful.
He looked beautiful to me then.
But it's such an unfair revision
It is.
history, though.
It is. But
it is.
I hear what you're saying,
hey.
but it's such an unfair.
Sure it is, but guess what? That's what they're judged on. Here's another thing they're judged on. How many quarterbacks has Andrew Berry brought to Cleveland? Let's count them up. 12?
A lot.
I mean, like the
how many
rookies.
quarterbacks have the Browns signed?
I don't know that quarterbacks are created equally here.
Okay.
No, they're not. But how many? And of course, obviously, Deshaun Watson is the big fish.
Yes.
And that was the big flop.
Yes.
So how many quarterbacks has he brought into Cleveland? In other words, he's done the legwork. He's looked at what they are.
I mean, you want to put Jeff Driscoll in the same category as Deshaun? That
no,
doesn't seem like a...
it's the body of work. It's all of them added together. Now, granted, if you're lucky, you hit on one, and it doesn't matter what you do with the other ones.
Correct.
But when you brought 15 in and none of them have hit,
yeah, but
that's an issue.
The only one that
Joe Flacco hit. That's it. That's it.
There's degrees to this. I don't think you can say how many quarterbacks has he brought when you're talking about guys like Jeff Driscoll and P.J. Walker. Like, you can't put those guys in the same
Okay, well, then,
P.J. Walker's
let's
a
just
hit
judge
and
him on
he'll win
Deshaun
record.
Watson then. Let's judge him on Deshaun Watson.
I mean, the Watson thing was a disaster. It was a total disaster.
And so, looking forward, and I think you've got it right. I think that Stefanski has enough equity here with his 2 NFL Coach of the Year awards and 2 trips to postseason football that I think he can withstand another 3-win season. I don't see that Andrew Berry has enough hay in the barn right now that he can take another 3 or 4 teams.
You want me to tell you how Kevin keeps AB here?
Yeah.
Kevin has the – I was talking to Bull about this a couple weeks ago. Bull's like, what do they see in him, basically? Because if you look at AB's draft records, it's horrendous. But
it's all bad.
I think – and I don't know this. This is just me going off what little feel I have for how the Haslams operate. I think Jimmy looks at this as we finally have a head coach and a GM who call it the same way, who see it the same way. They're not fighting against each other. They're not battling for control and for power. And you don't have the GM kicking people out of the room and the head coach. Like, all that used to go on in Bria all the time. And they don't have that anymore. They finally have unity.
That's the lowest common denominator of success.
When it's the first time you've had that in your entire ownership
But you're
group,
3-14 and 3-14.
Agreed. But I think when
I could go in there and agree on everything, but lose.
But when he really likes the people that he has in place, he likes them as humans. He likes the character of AB and Kevin. He believes. I believe that Jimmy feels like, and he took accountability for this in March. You guys told me to stop pushing on Deshaun, and I said no. We got to go. We got to finish this off and get this thing over the line. So he's taken ownership of that when everybody else in the building was telling him, we can't do this. Like, you can't guarantee the whole thing. We have to pull out. And Jimmy said, no, we got to go. So I think he's taking ownership of the Deshaun thing. I think he likes the people he has in place. I think he likes that he has cohesion and unity, and they see it the same way. And I think he's scared of making it worse. Well, that if he fires these guys, he can. He can make it worse.
Look,
3-14 and 3-14. If they do it again this year, how much worse can it get?
It's crazy. I can't.
Jackson.
But that's not. Here's the problem.
I'm not defending those as good reasons. I'm just saying I think that's how he sees it.
And guess what? I know you.
If you co-sign
that's not
this another
you.
year, you're co-signing losing.
I think that the fan base is going to say this. Listen, man.
Okay.
We did the 1-31, and we did the 1-31 so that we can build towards something.
Yep.
And we did build towards something. We got the quarterback. We got every position that you said you needed. You got the defensive end. You got the franchise cornerback. You got the quarterback. You had a stable of running backs. You had a great offensive line.
Yep.
And every single year since we put it together, year after year after year after year, you've started to get older, and you've never replaced anybody.
To that point, this is a question I think needs to be asked. After next season, you could ask it today if you wanted. Are you closer to building a championship team today than you were when you walked in the building? And I'm sorry, Jay, that should be the question.
When you walked in the building 10 years ago?
When Andrew Berry walked in the building.
Yes.
And we did this story a couple of weeks ago. Somebody had the Browns ranked as the 13th best franchise in the NFL. Now they're 31st. So clearly we're not in better position. But I believe that when at the end of the season, when teams do their autopsies and they take inventory of what they have moving forward, the ultimate question that absolutely has to be asked, and there are a lot of things that factor into this, injuries and whatnot, but the ultimate question that decides, are you going to move forward with the people you have in the building? Are you closer to a championship team today than we were last year, than we were 2 years ago, than we were when you walked in the building?
Well, here's the
have
thing.
you made us better or have you made us worse?
Well, here's the thing. Their contention window is closed. All that they went through, 1-31, the stupid parade and all that stuff.
Oh.
Everything that this franchise endured was for one playoff win. They got one playoff win out of it. That's it.
Yep.
Now that window is over. So when you say they were 13th and now they're 31 or whatever, well, that's because now they're in a rebuild, whether they want to call
they
it
were
or not.
13th when we did that story. Maybe you weren't here that day. Mike gave us numbers. They were 13th when Andrew Berry was hired.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's where they were.
Like when Berry was hired, they had the quarterback they thought in place. They had an offense that looked pretty potent at times. So they had all the pieces. Well, now that contention window is over.
Well,
it
was disassembled under his watch.
Yeah, so I look at it like this. You had Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. You brought in you got Thrashes and David Bells and Schwartz. You replaced Joe Thomas with Jed Wills in the top 10. Bro, you Nick Chubb left. You got Judkins. We don't even have him signed.
Your best player is still your best player when you walked in the building.
Myles Garrett.
Yep.
And you're still not as close. You're not close. They begging Joe Batonio, hey, come on back, dog.
Right.
Because guess what? Zach Zinner looked like he wasn't. He looked like he was not even playable.
Yeah.
So my thing is, yes, I can deal with the contention and the window being closed. But the thing I can't deal with is, what are you doing to restock these cupboards?
What's your plan to get out of this?
Where's the cupboards at?
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel every time I cringe is because, yes, I do believe that, yeah, you're going to go through some heartaches and some pains. But the problem is, to get out of those, you're going to have to find other people. So when you need to be finding a quarterback and figuring out, I would rather, if you're going to take these L's, listen, none of these old dudes is playing. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose all the way. Don't play the charade. I'm playing these two young dudes. If they don't win no games, guess what? I'm going to guarantee myself an opportunity to get the #1 overall pick. And then I'll get a quarterback. But I'm not going to play it halfway, get 7 wins with these other dudes, and then have to cut them loose. And by the way, I saw what the Saints did right there. The Saints ain't, if you think, where you think the Manning want to go? You think he want to go to the Saints?
I more and more I think he does not want to be here, and the people around him do not want him to be
If the Saints get the first pick, guess where he going?
Well, that's where his grandfather played, his namesake.
There it is.
And there was, the news that came out this week was that, Archie said that, Arch is most likely going to go back to school after this year. So you're playing a lottery game when there might not be a ticket available. We don't know what's going to be available in the draft.
I don't know.
I just think it's a very dangerous game.
It's dangerous
To do that.
Dangerous.
All right, we got to talk a little guards, guys, because they are right back in the thick of things. We're going to do that after a quick word from 5 Hour Energy. Right now, it's time to fuel up and turn up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5, hourenergy.com. You can use promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. That offer only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code not good with other subscriptions. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. All right, guys, the Guardians. We thought they were out of the AL Central race, and you know what? They might not actually be. They have been playing some excellent baseball of late, while Detroit has been free-falling in their last 26 games. Cleveland's a league best 19-7. Detroit, on the other hand, in 23 games, is just 7-16. The lead in the AL Central got as big as 15.5 at one point, Jay. It's now down to 6 with 50-something games to go. Each team is a little different. Are the Guards still alive in the AL Central race? I'll just ask it as simply as that. Or is 6 games too big of a gap to close in this short of a time frame?
They closed 9.5 in a month. They've got 2 months of baseball, or almost. And they have 6 games left with the Detroit Tigers. So the answer, are they dead in the Central race? No. I still think... And I'm hedging my bets more and more as we go on. I still think Detroit's going to hang on and win the division. I don't think they're nearly as bad as they've played the last month. The Guardians probably aren't as good as they've played the last month, particularly when you look at who they've played. They have beaten up on the teams they need to beat up on. They already have the difficult portion of their schedule behind them, and they didn't do well against those teams. They've got 2 series that are very winnable coming up. The Braves is a very winnable series. I mean, all of these teams are sub 500. So, Jay, the longer this damn thing goes, the more I'm looking at this saying, they can do this.
Yeah, they got time. I said it earlier in the show, get it to 3 at September, and you may look at that and say, Well, 3, you could have the lead by then. Well, Detroit probably is going to turn it around. It's such a long season. We've seen the Guardians play horrendous. We've seen the Guardians play great. We've seen Detroit play horrendous. We've seen Detroit play great. Realistically, if you can cut 2 or 3 games off of, or probably 3 to 4 games more off of this over the next 3 weeks or so, make this a 2-game race going to September, now we got a pen race.
Those 6 games remaining against Detroit are the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, so that's huge. So if you can just get it to 2, get it to 2. Going to September, you have 3 weeks to make up 2 games. That's plenty of time. And now you've got a race in September where it's appointment viewing to watch baseball every single night in September, and that's when things really get fun.
We talked. Who was on last week from the Guardians? The television broadcast.
Oh, Al Plaza.
Yeah, I asked him this question. I said, listen, when you could go 1 or 2 ways. When the whole gambling thing came out, I think the Guardians, the tone they had, they were embarrassed. And usually the Guardians are above any sort of reproach when it comes to you say what you wanted about their evaluations, but generally speaking, the Guardians don't get in trouble. Guardians don't be having a bunch of stuff go wrong. I think they were embarrassed. And I asked him, do you believe that this could be something that galvanizes the club? There's 2 ways you can go. You can fall apart, start pointing fingers, and fall off and go home early for vacation. Or you have some people in that locker room that say, listen, that's not representative of who we are, and we need to go out here and show what we can do. Once they traded Bieber, once they made that move, I think it put them in a position, in a mindset saying, guys, listen, we don't got nothing to lose out here. They've obviously sold at the deadline, and obviously we missing some of our best pitchers. And right now we can fold up the Christmas tree and go home early. But what we're going to do is we're going to show that we got something. We're going to show that we can come back and do it. And the crazy part about it is in baseball, they brainwash themselves in different ways. Y'all, that's a different group. All you need is about 3 or 4 dudes in a clubhouse that ain't about to have that. And that momentum it switches different. And I think right now the Guardians is at that point where Detroit was. Detroit sold last year. And they had a little bit of adversity, and that brought them closer together, and it brought more fire to the table. So I think they're at a position right now where I think they're just trying to prove a bunch of people wrong, man.
Yeah, that's powerful, too. When you mentioned about the embarrassment, I think you're right. I think the entire organization was embarrassed. A lot of the other players were getting questioned on some of the social media memes.
Yeah.
I saw after the Class A news broke, the next day they had a game that was in a rain delay, and someone sent me a meme from the movie The Hangover.
Right.
When they're all at the craps table and they're rolling dice and they're all on benders, and it said live look inside the Guardians clubhouse right now during the rain delay. That's unfortunate. And you're right. It does only take 2 or 3 guys in that clubhouse to get pissed off and to say, all right, enough.
Yeah.
Enough. Let's stand up and show everybody who we are. And they've done it, man. And I mentioned that it's been an easy part of their schedule, but they get paid too. And the Mets was not an easy sweep.
No, that was...
They've done that twice in 35 years. Take a 3-game sweep in New York. And I know that the Mets haven't been playing great baseball, but that's a great team. When you look at their 1 through 4, I don't know there's another 1 through 4 in baseball that I would least rather face.
Yep.
That's insane.
And Gavin Williams almost no-no'd him.
I know it.
That's wild.
I know. It was incredible.
You were on the day after that. I just want to ask about your opinion from the pitching expertise.
I would not have thrown a fastball, and I would have politely worked around him. Gentleman's walk.
Yeah, gentleman.
And I would have tried to get Pete, who does hit a lot of ground balls, I would have tried to get him to end into a game-ending and no-hitter clinching double play.
Is it a faux pas that, is it a bad thing to be like, you know what, I got a no-hitter. You're getting intentionally walked.
I wouldn't have intentionally walked him, but the nitro zone would have been dead for me. And I'm going to work the edges, and I know he struck him out earlier in the game, and he did it with a beautiful pitch. I'm going back to the stuff that I know has already worked for me today. What I'm not going to do against Juan Soto, who loves the big moment, I had a feeling too. I said, if he gets Soto, he's got the no-hitter. And I just had a sinking feeling. And when he challenged him with the fastball, and it was hit to dead way straightaway center. I thought, there it goes. That's it.
I
would not have challenged him that way.
I have to think when you're in New York and you're in the ninth inning with a no-hitter, you feel bulletproof at that point.
Yeah.
I'm not backing down.
As a competitor,
I'm not backing down.
I'm going right at
But
him.
I'm not challenging the best hitter in the game, one of the best hitters in the game.
It reminded me of that series. I think
Reminded me of what he did for the Yankees last year.
Like when Hunter Gaddis was in the game in the playoffs, and Hunter Gaddis was just throwing gas, and he kept fouling them off.
Oh,
and,
before the home run?
Yeah, and then he finally hits the.
Yeah.
I said, bro, this dude is different.
Yeah.
He was staring him down too.
And he was staring him down, and with every foul ball, you got the sense he's seeing it.
He's
got it.
He's a great player. I can't stand him.
Yeah, there was a lot of anger. I don't
can't
like him
stand
either,
him.
but there was a lot of. I heard a lot of Cleveland fans saying he Cadillac'd it. Look, you just broke up a no-hitter.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
he didn't completely Cadillac and showboat. He hit it. He admired it for a minute. He had a little bit of a chuckle as he came out of the box. Look, the victor goes the spoils.
Yeah.
Yep.
You broke up a no-hitter. You're still going to take the L.
Yeah, you got.
But it was what it was. Now, I know what you're saying, Jay. You never want to pitch scared, especially when you're pitching so well.
Yeah.
But it was the number of pitches. It was the guy that was at the plate.
I don't care.
And if I know you say, hey, my best against your best, let's
go.
When this is all said and done, who is going to have the better baseball legacy, Gavin Williams or Juan Soto?
Oh, it's going to be Soto.
Okay,
But it doesn't matter. For that moment,
I know in that moment, and he would have loved more than anything to strike him out with the fastball. I will tell you, and I think this runs through all of baseball, all levels. Whenever I've got a complete game going and I'm in the ninth inning, don't come out to me as my catcher and just say, just get a ground ball here, man. Just pitch to contact.
Leave me alone.
Oh, no. I'm striking this dude out, and it's not going to be a pretty pitch. It's going to be my fastball. I'm not getting cute, and I know what Gavin was going for, and if he gets him on that pitch, he looks like the hero with the white hat. But
is that the Gavin that scouts were
that's
celebrating?
it.
Yes.
Is that the Gavin?
You've seen it for the last month. He's been a better pitcher.
the
a
light
different
finally went
pitcher
off, Jay.
over the last
he
month.
stopped trying to be so cute.
Yeah, and again,
and he's just going after guys.
in the rankings of their pitching prospects as they were coming up through, he was always supposed to be better than Bybee, and Espino was supposed to be better than him.
he was.
Espino was supposed to be better than Gavin, and obviously he's had a ton of injuries. He may never make it to the majors at this point. Who knows? But Gavin always had a higher pedigree than Tanner Bybee. All you need to know about Gavin Williams, I was talking to him in spring training last year about how you get to be a Boras client. And early in his career, I guess when he went to Vanderbilt, right? Was he a Vanderbilt guy?
I don't know if he was a Vandy guy.
I don't remember where he went to.
Well, in that case, you should be
He
good.
went to East Carolina.
Yeah, East Carolina.
okay,
because,
wow.
I don't know how the hell I knew that, by the way.
Well, and during the game they said, I think, didn't Carl Willis also go to East Carolina?
Oh, I don't know.
I think they did.
They have a really good baseball program.
I think
they
he did.
Yeah.
No, they're very good.
and some of the best uniforms in all the game.
But the thing with Gavin was he wanted to be a Boras client, and they rejected him because he wasn't good enough.
Wow.
And then they came back after his final year
Tail
in East
between his
Carolina.
legs.
They came back and said, "Okay, now you can come into the stable."
That's interesting.
So, and in fact, I think it was after the draft. I think when the Guardians, I'd have to double check this. I think when the Guardians drafted him, he was not a Boras client. I think he signed with Boras after they drafted him. But I'm not 100%.
How
on that. I'd have
agents-
to double
how
check.
you know
agents
what?
got scouts.
Some teams won't draft Boris guys.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't want to deal with them.
Yep.
They just don't want to deal with
But
them.
I think that's a mistake. But you go into this knowing, okay, we have 6 years with them, and then you're going to lose them, and probably 5, and then we're going to trade them.
Yep.
You know that going in. Gavin Williams is not going to end his career in Cleveland.
Dang,
Enjoy him
Jason
while he's here.
Lloyd. Damn.
That's just facts, though.
I know,
I
but
mean,
it
that's
hurts
what-
when you say it.
That's what you're dealing with when you deal with Scott Boras. You know that going in.
Yep. He's going to take him on the market. He's going to get the biggest offer. It's probably going to be more than what people think he's going to make. That's the other thing that Boras does for his guys. They always look at the deals and say, wait a minute, how in the world? I know he always has the top clients, but he gets them paid.
And it just seems,
Cleveland doesn't pay.
And it just seems like, all right, it sucks because like you go through the growing pains. You get him up here. You go through the ups and downs, and then all of a sudden it looks like he's figuring it out. And then he has a great year. He's up for the Cy Young, best pitcher, and then all of a sudden,
Welcome to Cleveland.
Yeah.
No, that's how it goes. It's always been that way, with the exception of Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
None of all of the stars that we had through the 90s, none of them ended their careers here because they all went off to greener pastures and made more money. The idea, though, is to get the best years out of them. Hope that, you have them during their best years, their early years.
And then you trade them for 6 more guys that are
and wash, rinse, repeat.
4 years younger.
And the cycle keeps going.
And hope out of those 6 you hit on 2 or 3.
That's exactly the formula.
Yep.
All right, we talked about the preseason game tonight. We're all excited about this. You'll be able to watch it. I think locally here it's on Channel 5.
Yeah.
It's also going to be on the NFL Network.
Correct.
And on the call for the game, our friend of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, big Cleveland sports fan, Cleveland native, Chris Rose. Chris, welcome to the program. Happy Friday, brother. What are you expecting tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to get back to East Carolina baseball before we get, dive headfirst into the Browns situation.
Let's do it.
The guy who was going to head to East Carolina, instead he was drafted late in the first round, was Mike Trout. So that'll tell you how good a baseball program East
Yeah, you
Carolina.
aren't kidding.
That's
There you
wild.
go.
Trout had the tools coming out too. Yeah, they.
All right,
did
enough
really
about
well.
Pirates baseball. So let's talk about football tonight, shall we?
Yeah, what are you expecting, Chris? We obviously gave fake lines, like what we expect Shedeur Sanders' line to be. I don't know if you want to dive that deep into the weeds, but what are you looking for from him tonight?
I think that the coaching staff will do a really good job to make sure that what they're running that he's comfortable with. First and foremost. And I think he'll do well, to be honest with you. The first couple series might be rough, in part because usually when you're playing with a backup offensive line and going against a starting defense, sometimes you'll leak a little bit of oil. It could take Shedeur a little bit of time to get used to the speed of this game and everything else, but I think you'll see a lot of the quick passing game early. He did a lot of that at Colorado, right? A lot of screens, a lot of stuff at the line of scrimmage, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've seen one thing I think the NFL has done exceptionally well over the last decade is not rule with an iron fist and say, hey, college kid, this is the way we do it here. They've kind of gone backwards. They say, well, what did you do well in college? What made you a good player? Let's see what we can implement at the NFL level. So I think that they'll do that in terms of, what works in their offense and what works best with Shedeur's skill set.
When you look at it, Chris, man, have you seen a level of anticipation kind of like this in a preseason game? Answer it quick. No.
Has there ever been a 5th round draft pick that has drummed up this much attention? I mean, never.
Not that I can remember.
Okay, Cam Ward was the #1 pick in the draft. He will be the unquestioned starter for Tennessee in Week 1. Have you heard his name mentioned at all this summer?
Not really.
Not really. And it's because this guy, he's #1, he was a star when he got to college. He is a star before he has taken a snap in the NFL. That doesn't necessarily equate to success at this level, but call him whatever you want. He is a star. And then his game and his family is so polarizing. It's that equation takes us to tonight. And it is unlike anything I can remember or feel like I've seen before, because there are so many factions. Over here, we have people that are saying, well, why isn't he getting reps with the 1? And Dylan Gabriel is getting reps with the 1. Why isn't that happening? There are people over on this side that are saying, well, he's a developmental quarterback. Like, what other 5th rounder does get snaps with the 1? There's just so much that there's still people that feel like they're against the Sanders family name. There are some people that are saying, well, the Browns are setting him up for failure, which to me is the most ridiculous narrative of them all. I mean, he's on their team. Why wouldn't they want him to succeed and put him in a position to succeed? You can question whether or not they should have drafted him. You can question whether or not it made sense to draft 2 quarterbacks in a 3-round span. I get all that stuff. There's just so much floating around that we're going to have to talk about tonight, which there's a lot of people that call preseason football that are jealous of our booth tonight because we don't have to make stuff up. This is
Yeah, if only you had a storyline, Chris.
Right.
Facts.
So how do you feel about the way that they've handled his process throughout this training camp? I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's absurd, some of the conspiracy theories that are out there. But what do you make of how they've brought him along so far?
Well, I think it all depends on what your expectations are for Shedeur. Guys that are drafted this late are termed developmental quarterbacks. Let's just go over the last 10 drafts. So this is since 2016 and including this year. How many quarterbacks that were taken after night one, so after the first round, will be starting week one in the NFL, presuming everybody is healthy? Do you guys have any idea? What's that?
Brock Purdy.
Yep, there's one.
And that might be
after Dak, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
After what? After night one?
Yeah.
And
Jalen Hurts is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's it, huh?
Right.
That's it. And so it's a long shot. When you get down this far in the draft, it's literally a lottery ticket. He just happens to be the most famous lottery ticket that we've ever seen. And so I understand why people get all huffy-puffy and want to yell at the top of their lungs. That's the society we're in today. It kind of makes it fun. Everybody can have a voice on social media. So that, like, I'm all for that stuff. But the way I look at it is he's the fourth quarterback in the room, and that's all right. And I think that's probably what's best for the organization at this point. Would you feel good if he was anointed the starter? Let's say he plays well tonight. Do you think the team's going to be any better if he was anointed the starter come Monday?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, I still think that Joe Flacco probably gives us the best chance to win. Now, I don't know that Joe's going to start week one. Nobody has said that. But this, based on what I know and what I've seen, that's who I would say would give us the best chance to beat the Cincinnati Bengals week one and compete this year. Now, if we're talking long-term for the organization, you heard the owner, Jimmy Haslam, say, yeah, we got to look at the young guys at some point. And that will be a discussion for, I don't know if it's week 6, week 12, or where it is. But that narrative is going to come full circle as well.
Do you see them carrying 4 quarterbacks, Chris?
Gosh, today's day and age, I don't know, guys. I don't know how you can do it. I mean, we had 4 make the initial 53, and then a couple days later, Huntley got cut last year.
Right.
So maybe that's the way it goes. You know, we saw Anthony Richardson dislocate a finger last night. There's going to be some other injury that'll happen, whether it's to a starter or a backup, and that could mean that one of your veterans ends up getting dealt. There's a long time between now and when we have to go play Cincinnati, or even when we have to make cuts. But I would say to keep 4 for week one, it feels like a stretch to me.
I agree. I know Jay said earlier he sees that, they could do it. And I'm sure that if they wanted to, they could. It just seems so highly unusual and unlikely to me. And I don't know if the Colts are now looking at Joe Flacco saying, well, he knows the system. I don't know what you'd even get for him if the Browns decided to, try to make a move there. But God, to keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster is can anybody remember a time when the Browns carried 4?
No, never. But they were trying to win. They don't care about winning. They don't care about winning this year. So what difference does it make?
Well, let me push back a little bit on that, I think, Jason. I think it's hard to sell to a locker room when guys are putting their bodies on livelihoods on the line that we strictly do not care about it.
I totally agree.
I do think that guys are smart enough to understand the NFL. And they probably look at our team, and some may know or may not know. I don't know. They have 2 first-round picks next year. They also have Jacksonville's, obviously. And it's supposed to be a very deep quarterback class. That doesn't mean it will be. It's just supposed to be. I mean, heck, in 2021, there were 5 quarterbacks taken in the first 15 picks, and 4 of those guys are already on their 3rd team.
Yep.
It's insane. So they're smart enough to know that they can see the big picture, but I don't think they want to be told that you're going to go out and ram into somebody for 60 plays every Sunday, and it doesn't matter to us. I cannot believe that that's being sold to these guys.
Well, they're never going to come out and say that, ever. They're going to try
Right, not say it, but right, we understand that when they have to play young quarterbacks before they're ready, it is for the future of the franchise. I get it too.
We talked about the win total for the upcoming season. I guess, what was the line that you gave Mike? Was it 5.5, 4.5 wins?
It depends on the book. It's either 4.5, 5.5. USA Today predicted 3 and 14. Jay, you said you disagreed, but those are the
Are you in line
lines.
with that, Chris? I mean, you expecting somewhere between 3 and 6 wins, nothing more?
Well, first of all, as a proud employee of the NFL,
Well said.
I don't know of what you're talking about. Over, under, between, next to that terminology. I have
get
no
it.
idea.
Yeah, I get it.
Now, if you're asking me what our record could be this year,
Yeah.
I would say, I think they'd be thrilled with 7.
Okay.
I think 5 feels right, depending on if you go to young quarterbacks to get an evaluation. And I do want to go on the record as saying I think they need to. They need to at some point. It shouldn't be week 1.
Right.
But I think they need to get an evaluation, even if it's just for backup purposes moving forward. If you realize that, hey, we think these guys can be serviceable, Colt McCoy type guys moving forward and be good backups because we might need them at some point, and we can put them in the break glass in case of emergency file, and we'll find our quarterback next year in the draft. Like, I get that too. So,
Chris, before we pivot and talk a little Guardians, the Browns did make 2 high picks in this most recent draft on defensive players that we anticipate seeing tonight, Mason Graham and Carson Schlesinger. In your preparation for tonight's game, what can you tell us about how the coaching staff is looking at those 2 in particular who are about to make their highly anticipated NFL debuts?
Well, let's start with Mason Graham. I think a lot of people were like, what? You're taking a guy who at Michigan, all he did was hold on to somebody and then look and see what he should be doing. Well, I think that Browns fans are throughout the entire season, and it might not happen tonight, might not happen week 1 or the first month, but I think throughout the season, they're going to be really happy with what this guy's skill set is all about. It's not always about these gaudy numbers, particularly when he was playing in the system that he did at Michigan. But Kevin Stefanski was very high on him, high on his football IQ in terms of things that they can do defensively, that they can run. And Joe Thomas is going to get into this a little bit more on the broadcast tonight. So I don't want to steal Joe's thunder because he's a Hall of Famer and he's a dear friend of mine. But B, actually, let's make this A. I can't explain it nearly as well as he can. So he's going to do that tonight for you on the broadcast. As far as Carson Schlesinger, I think people opened their eyes when they were like, wait, he's the first pick of the second round, an off-ball linebacker. Why does that make sense? Well, number one, the injury to JOK. And then they didn't know that Jordan Hicks was going to call it quits. But this is, I think, going to end up being one of those picks that we have made since we came back into the league where we're going to circle it and say, nailed it. And I think we're going to feel really good. I mean, this is a kid that was a walk-on at UCLA, didn't get on the field until his last year, and then he became a tackling machine. He can do it all. Kevin said he's also exceptionally long. He's one of those guys that you can put in the middle of the field. Like Luke Kuechly used to do that. Exceptionally athletic, really bright, run sideline to sideline, and also be a pain in the butt in the passing game for offenses. So I'm not comparing him to anybody, but I'm just saying that I think he's going to be great for us.
Kuechly was pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I think like if you're into the guys that become defensive players here and possibly put on a gold jacket once it's all said and done.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Be a nice hit. Thoughts on the guards? I don't know how much of your conversation you caught when you were in the queue waiting to come on. We started the conversation today with, is this doable? They've trimmed 9.5 in a month to get to within 6 of the Tigers. They've got 6 left. Of course it's doable. How likely is it, though, that they catch Detroit?
Not likely. The 6 come, I believe, in the last 2 weeks of the season.
You're correct. You're right. Yeah.
So, first of all, I want to say this. I'm one of those people that when they were in the throes of a 10-game losing streak, I was like, well, this is it. I was trying to figure out what we could get for Emmanuel Clase. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when he used to pitch for us. So
it's a great line.
I was trying to figure out, because we really didn't have much else to trade. I mean, we got rid of Seawald. That was a little bit of a dump there. The Bieber deal, I didn't have a problem with. I'm happy for him. I hope he ends up nailing it and going into free agency and getting a good multi-year deal. But the Class A one was a real kick in the you-know-what.
Yep.
So there's a few things. I still don't know how we win games on a consistent basis. And I give a lot of credit to the players, because you look at the lineup, and let's be honest, there are 2, maybe 3 everyday baseball players in this lineup, or guys that should be every day. It's Jose Ramirez, it's Steven Kwan, and I do think that Kyle Manzardo should be playing virtually every day.
Absolutely.
You want to give him a break against Tarek Skubal or some really tough lefty, fine. I'll listen on that one. But I do think that Manzardo should be playing. Number 2, and I forget if I heard it on your show, so forgive me. Somebody was saying that Stephen Vogt is to blame for whatever shortcomings this team has.
That was Bull, who's not here today.
Okay, well, I wish he was here, because I was like yelling at the screen. I'm like, a manager has a bad season when you have major expectations. Go look at this team as presently constructed and tell me why it should make the playoffs. Can anybody do that?
No, they shouldn't even be in the mix.
Right. And so now if people want to talk about, well, I hate his pitching changes. Folks, I cover baseball for a living on top of the NFL. You won't find anybody that likes their managerial pitching changes. Our buddy, the future Hall of Famer, Terry Francona, is getting roasted in Cincinnati for the way that he has handled it. Roasted. Nobody likes managerial changes, and they all hate their offensive coordinator because they think they can call better plays. So let's put that to the side. The other thing is, this thing could have gotten off the rails after a 10-game losing streak, losing Ortiz, and definitely losing Class A. Yep. Instead, it's gone the total opposite way. So I give a hell of a lot of credit to the players in that clubhouse for keeping it together. And also, why not the manager? Shouldn't he get credit for managing people and having the ability to keep this on the tracks when it should have gone sideways 3 weeks ago? That did not happen. So why are people so pissed at him?
Yeah, it's head scratcher. I don't get it either. And look, I don't love all of his moves. I'm with you on Manzardo.
The lineup and platooning drives me crazy.
That's what gets me too.
But
I don't love that.
But he's done a terrific job of holding this together.
I mean, my God, if you're going to grade him overall, not in any one, are there categories I'd give him? Probably a C+ or a B-. Yeah. But overall, Chris, I couldn't agree with you more. The manager's job is to manage from 30,000 feet, the macro. And I know that there's a lot of in-the-weeds moves that you can judge him for. But ultimately, what I judge your manager on is how well do you galvanize the talent that you have, and do you get them to overachieve? And I don't think there's any argument that this team has wildly overachieved when you consider what their everyday lineup, Chris, is abysmal. They've got guys in that lineup that shouldn't be in a major league roster. And here they are. We're asking, can they catch the Tigers? And a month ago, they were 15 and a half games out. So for my money, Stephen Vogt has done as good a job this year as he did last year.
I agree.
Did a great job last year.
I do want to say this, that the game has so severely changed. We know a lot of these decisions are if-then scenarios that are brought down from the front office. Okay, now nobody will ever admit that because managers don't want to say, well, I'm not the guy calling the shots, because then what are you in the dugout? And the front office guys don't want to say it because they don't want to be questioned about it, because they don't like to be on camera and asked about decisions twice a day, every day. So I understand that reluctance, and I will be honest with you. I haven't had a discussion with the Guardians or Stephen Vogt or Chris Antonetti or Mike Chernoff or anybody about that, where those decisions come down. Does he have total autonomy over this lineup or does he not? And yes, it drives me nuts when Kyle Manzardo goes and hits 2 home runs and the next day he's on the bench. But I also have seen Terry Francona do that. My old buddy Kevin Millar, when we worked together at Intentional Talk, he said, if I was a manager, I'd have one rule. It's so hard to hit a home run in the major leagues that I don't give a damn who's pitching the next day. You're in the lineup the next day.
I agree.
If you did something that good the day before, you're in the lineup the next day. So I kind of adhere to that thought process, regardless of all of the stats and metrics that are available to us these days. By the way, I cannot believe you're putting up that Tanner Bybee photo, and I'm looking at these stats. That is just –
He's been a disappointment this year.
Been a disappointment. There's no question.
If he pitched up to his expectations, that lead wouldn't be 6. It would be more like 2. And we put it up earlier in the show, Chris, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, what's become of this guy? Gavin Williams has clearly shot past him as the better arm. What'd you think of the of Gavin Williams' near no-no the other day? I'm sure you watched.
So I was actually flying to the East Coast while it happened, and I was watching it, and while doing work, getting ready for the Browns game. And I didn't notice that he had a no-hitter until the end of the 4th inning. And I was listening to stuff on my computer while doing – and, of course, I'm a typical Cleveland fan. I don't want to plug in and listen to the game because if he gives up a hit, then I'm the guy that screwed it up. And all of a sudden, like, my sons start texting me, and they're like, "Are you watching?" And I said, "Yep." And I wouldn't say anything. And then I'm on a text chain with my 2 brothers and my nephew, Andrew, who lives in Cleveland. And we're all checking in, everybody watching. And one of my brothers says, "No, he was working." We get to the 9th inning, and Soto, of course, hits the blast. And my brother, I won't tell you which one, he goes, "Well, I put it on." And I was like, for God's sakes.
It's his fault.
Out of all of us, we have gone over all of the close no-hitters that guys have lost.
Yeah.
How Dan Spillner lost one, and Bert Blyleven lost one a week before Lenny Barker threw his in 1981. And I was like, damn it. What are you like? Can't you take one for the team?
Yeah.
We'll tell you what happens.
You don't change what you're doing. You got to. It's
God's sakes.
Every
good sports fan knows
44 years between no-nos, and that's the longest drought in baseball, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it is.
It's insane. I mean, when is this going to end? Hey, we got to go, Chris. I can't wait to listen to you tonight. If only you had something to talk about.
Let's be honest. Are you really that excited to listen to us? You're excited to see Shedeur throw the ball.
No, I'm excited. I really enjoy you and Joe together. I think it's a fun listen. We talked. I don't know when I was this excited about a preseason game. I really don't. I mean, I guess Baker's first game, but like for me, there's a lot of questions. The only thing I wish we could see Gabriel too, and Judkins and get the real lay of these rookies. But I'm going to enjoy it, and I hope you have a good call, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds great, gang. We'll catch up soon, and this is going to be really interesting for a lot of people tonight. Cannot wait to. Yeah, I'm sure everybody will handle it perfectly on social media.
Oh, yeah, no overreactions either way. Everybody will be level-headed, and this is going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Hey, McNuggets, I got a quick question for you before I go.
Shoot, what's up, Chris?
You there? That Joe Thomas, DeJuan Jones video, where'd you get that from?
Sean Dunnigan of Channel 3 shot it. I'm sure if you asked, we could get that over to you.
Do you need it, Chris?
Yeah, we
Actually,
might.
They're on Channel 5, so I don't think that's going to
Oh, God,
yeah. Probably a no-no.
Yeah.
You know what we'll do? We'll have a court reporter draw it. You know how they
sketches, court sketches.
Yeah, we'll use sketches. It'll be great. All right, guys. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Have a good call, man.
Thanks, Chris. You can catch him tonight on the call. Browns, Panthers, kickoff 7 p.m. We got super chats we're going to get to after a quick word.
Yeah, they're not sure.
From Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wondered, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. We got some super chats to wrap up today's show. Miss Bell 70 says, justifying how Shedeur has been treated is old news. He's not in for an opportunity. He's out of circumstance. He is going to play well tonight. Not believing it will move him up in this toxic environment. Goth Smasher says, we're going to be good this year since Kevin has been the coach. It's one good year, one terrible year. We overreact.
That's true.
Either way, at least that's what I always do.
No, we do. We sort of checkerboard the seasons with him.
Irv says everybody ran their mouth about Sanders, and he walked into the TCU game and threw for 510 yards and 4 touchdowns.
He throw for 510. Let me tell you what. He buy for 510. I'm gonna go home and tell my wife I need to get a boat like Jay's.
Fact. I'll do the
If he
same
throws
thing.
for 510 tonight, you can have my boat.
Deal. Sign me up. Dragon the Abandoner says, if the Browns somehow make the playoffs, does Kevin get Coach of the Year for the 3rd time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but
They
Absolutely.
what are
might
you talking
rename
about?
the award after him.
I
if
might-
they make
I'll-
the playoffs
I'll-
last
The
year.
Kevin Stefanski Coach of the Year award.
I'll announce it myself and go give it to him.
Yeah.
Eddie Everhart says, do you think the Browns are pushing off getting a quarterback to maximize value of other contracts with a quarterback on a rookie deal? Would you like Proctor with Jones? I believe he means Caden Proctor.
Yeah. I don't. That's just something that happens and you benefit from it, but I don't think it's something you set out to do.
So the quarterbacks that's in the college got to go and prove it, and Shedeur Sanders got to go out and prove it too.
Yeah.
So so everybody got to. It's a lot of time, man.
Kirk Davis sent us 2. The first one was the Browns and Jaguars games are going to be the most watched preseason games. He also says, if Shedeur proves he's our quarterback of the future, we need to target a receiver in the draft like Antonio Williams from Clemson or an offensive lineman in 2026. And pray we get another top 5 pick in 2027 so we can get Jeremiah Smith.
That's listen. The Kool-Aid Mafia.
Hope ain't a plan.
He not only gave you next year, he gave you Jeremiah Smith hope on top of that. That is some 3-dimensional prognostication, my brother.
He's going to be the first
Well, no,
overall
here's
pick.
Here's what
I
happens.
said that 2 years or last year, and everybody thought I was nuts.
Let me read
but
this
I'm
last super
standing
chat,
by
then
it.
I'll tell you how that happens. Boz Crow says, Vogt walked into a culture of winning. They are winning despite him. The ridiculous platoon, sitting guys when hot, etc. It's just awful.
I don't think he has no choice.
That's not true.
I disagree with that too, Jay. Yeah, he did walk into a winning culture.
Yes, he did.
But the person most responsible for that culture was gone, and he was tasked with replacing him. Let's not minimize what Stephen Vogt has done,
Absolutely.
guys.
You never-
And I'll be the first to say, if you want to start picking apart some of his everyday moves, I'm all here for it, especially the Kyle Manzardo stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like
and
they tell him
everything
who-
else. But
I feel like
See you on WKYC in 3 minutes for never before seen content. Peace.